Hi all, welcome to my channel. I am Shilpa Krishna. I am talking about NoSQL database. When people use the term NoSQL database, they used to refer to any non-relational database. NoSQL known as not only SQL database. It provides a mechanism for storage and retrieval of data. They are used in real-time web applications and big data. Most of the NoSQL are open source and it has an ability of horizontal scalability, which means that commodity kind of machines could be added. It is schema free and there is no requirement to design the tables and pushing the data to it. NoSQL databases emerged in the late 2000s as the cost of storage dramatically decreased. Gone were the days of needing to create a complex, difficult to manage data model simply for the purposes of reducing data duplication. Developers were becoming the primary cost of software development, so NoSQL databases optimized for developer productivity. In this section, we are going through two data models: aggregate data model and distribution data model. So let's start with aggregate data model. Aggregate is a term that comes from domain-driven design. In domain-driven design, an aggregate is a collection of data that we interact with as a unit. Aggregates make it easier for the database to manage data storage over cluster. 4 aggregate data models are key value, document, graph, and column family. Aggregation is all about how the data is being used by applications. An aggregate structure may help with some data interactions but be an obstacle for others. For example, to get the product sales history, you will have to dig into every aggregate in the database. The reason for aggregate orientation is that it helps greatly with running on a cluster. We said earlier on that key value and document databases were strongly aggregate oriented. In a key value database, the aggregate is opaque. That is, we can store whatever we like in the aggregate. We can only access an aggregate by lookup based on its key. The key value database is a very simple structure based on Amazon's DynamoDB. That is a platform designed for non-stop shopping cart service. Key value stores essentially act like large distributed hash map data structure. In contrast, a document database is able to see a structure in the aggregate but imposes limits on what we can place in it, defining allowable structures and types. In return, however, we get more flexibility when accessing data. We can submit queries to the database based on the field in the aggregate and retrieve part of the aggregate rather than the whole thing. It can create indexes based on the contents of the aggregate. Next is column family stores. These are created to store and process very large amounts of data distributed over many machines. Column family stores are modeled on Google's Bigtable. The data model is based on a sparsely populated table whose rows can contain arbitrary columns. The first key is often described as a row identifier Columns are organized into column families. Column family can have different columns for each row it contains. The next is graph database. It is a big dense network structure. It uses sophisticated shortest path algorithms to make data queries more efficient. It takes document databases to the extreme by introducing the concept of type relationships between documents or nodes. The most common example is the relationship between people on a social network such as Facebook. NoSQL databases are schema-less. That is, a key-value store allows you to store any data you like under a key. A document database effectively does the same thing since it makes no restrictions on the structure of the documents you store. Column family database allow you to store any data under any column you like. Graph databases allow you to freely add new edges and freely add properties to nodes and edges as you wish. Next is schema-less database. It can store whatever you need and add new things as you discover them. Makes it easier to deal with non-uniform data, that is data where each record has a different set of fields. And it have implicit schema in the application means that in order to understand data you have to dig into the application code. Furthermore, the database remains ignorant of the schema. It cannot use the schema to support the decision on how to store and retrieve data efficiently. Also, it cannot impose integrity constraints to maintain information coherent. If you need to change your aggregate boundaries in the aggregate database, the data migration is as complex as it is in the relational case. Remember also that even though not frequent relational schemas can be changed at any time with standard SQL commands. Next is materialized view. Although NoSQL databases don't have views as relational databases, they may have pre-computed and cached queries, and they use the term materialized views to describe them. This is particularly useful for those applications that have to deal with some queries that don't fit well with the aggregate structure. There are two basic strategies to manage materialized views. Update the materialized view at the same time you update the base data for it. This is useful if you have more read than write access. The second strategy is run batch jobs to update the materialized views at regular intervals. Of course, in this case, some temporal windows exist in which data in the materialized views may not be assigned. In both approaches, strategies for incremental updates of view are often used. The next data model is distribution data models. As said, the primary driver of interest in NoSQL has been its ability to run databases on a large cluster. In particular, aggregate orientation fits well with scaling out because the aggregate is a natural unit to use for distribution. Let us now have a look to various models for data distribution: sharding, master-slave replication, peer-to-peer replication. So let's see what is sharding. Sharding is a technique of putting different parts of the data onto different servers. It is valuable for performance because it can improve both read and write performances. Often, a busy data store is busy because different people are accessing different parts of the data set. In these circumstances, we can support horizontal scalability by putting different parts of the data onto different servers. Two main issues arise in sharding: how to clump the data so that one user mostly gets her data from a single server. How to arrange single data clump on the nodes to provide the best data access. As for issue 1, we recall that we generally design aggregates to combine data that are commonly accessed together. So aggregates leap out as an obvious unit of distribution. In issue 2, if you know that most access of certain aggregates are based on a physical location, you can place the data close to where it is being accessed. Another factor is trying to arrange aggregates so that they are evenly distributed across the nodes, which all get equal amounts of the load. Next one, master-slave replication. With master-slave distribution, you replicate data across multiple nodes. One node is designed as the master or primary and as the authoritative source for the data, usually responsible for processing any updates to that data. It is most helpful for scaling when you have a read-intensive data set. One node is designed as the master and is responsible for processing any updates to that data. Other nodes are slaves. Replication process synchronizes the slaves with the master. The master fail, the slaves can still handle read request. The last distribution data model is peer-to-peer replication. Master-slave replication helps with read scalability but doesn't help with scalability of write. It provides resilience against failure of a slave but not of a master. With peer-to-peer replication cluster, you can ride over node failures without losing access to data. You can easily add nodes to improve performance. The biggest complication is consistency. When you can write to two different places, you run the risk that two people will attempt to update the same record at the same time. That is called a write-to-write conflict. Inconsistencies on read lead to problems, but at least they are relatively transient.